Experience of the future.
Hi, Sharks. My name's Brent Bushnell. I'm asking for $500,000 for 5% of my company. Sharks, humans need to get together more in person. Kids need more active play. Everyone needs more joy. Future Circus has an answer. We're game makers creating huge futuristic group games. We use standard locations like basketball courts and parking lots, together with the latest mixed reality technology to create downloadable theme parks. Literally, this is like living inside your favorite video game, and it's as easy as putting on a pair of goggles. As an example, imagine you're on a tricycle in the middle of a parking lot at your local mall. Or maybe you have a wizard wand in your hand and you're throwing fireballs against your friends in the most epic street wizard spell battle your town has ever seen. Now, the best part is, you can do this in a park, a parking lot, your home, but most importantly, vacant retail. All of these places can be turned into magical wonderlands that you can connect with your friends and have a heck of a great time. Now, Sharks, the time is now to extend the $350 billion video game industry out into the real world. So, Sharks, who wants to run away and join the circus?
Hey, we are back with another Shark Tank Breakdown episode. I am your host, Dave, 10-year intellectual property attorney dealing with everything from patents, trademarks, copyrights, as well as trade secrets. Future Circus. Now, this is an interesting one. I would imagine that he has to have some sales. He's valuing the company at $10 million, $500,000 for 5%, $10 million. I guess the interesting thing, before I get off into the things that I look for and then jumping back into the video here, jumping back into the pitch, I'm not sure what's the difference between what he just described and I think what was it, Apple or maybe Google, they had those kind of headsets, those goggles, those virtual reality goggles. I thought kind of the virtual reality already did all those things. So maybe I missed something. Please let me know in the comment section, or maybe he kind of clarifies it as we kind of go through this pitch. I don't watch these things in ahead of time. I watch them in real time so I can give you guys my authentic thoughts. But I thought that kind of the virtual reality headsets already did those things. And to be honest with you, I don't see as many people. It seemed like it was kind of big when they initially came out, but I don't see a lot of people using them these days. Like when they came out a year or so ago, I hardly see people using them. So that's kind of maybe some concern for me as I'm kind of thinking out loud in real time. But again, I don't see anything that he's doing as it relates to gaming that isn't already done. So it'll be interesting to see what the Sharks think. I know that Barber's going to be out. Seems like Mark is going to be out. I just kind of going in this thing, trying to look ahead. I'm not sure if he's going to get a deal with this one, but kind of the three things that I look for, plus the fourth one is the bonus fourth one is how simple is it? How effective is it? What's the market like? And is he protecting his IP? Starting with the last one, I didn't see anything. I did a quick search on the United States Patent and Trademark Office. I didn't see him protecting Future Circus. So, hey, if you're listening to this, you probably want to kind of get that trademarked at least. I'm not saying anything from a patent perspective that maybe hasn't already kind of been protected, or kind of based on what he's talking about is kind of new and unique and novel to what it is that he's doing, but that may come out later. The market, obviously we know the gaming market is big. Yeah, it is saturated, but it's still a ton of money to be made. How effective is it? That's going to be based on the sales, and based on the $10 million valuation, I would imagine that he has some sales. And then how simple is it? I think for the user, it's kind of pretty simple. Now, it seems like kind of, do you want to kind of, it's one thing to be at your house or your home or whatever the case may be, but just be out and about in parking lots and in open spaces with these headsets on. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's something that is, I don't know, man. I don't know. I haven't seen it a lot, but that, I'm not following the gaming industry like that. Again, like I said, please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, as well as hit the subscribe button to be a part of the IP community. And we're going to get back to it. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section. Hey, man, I'm not sure how I feel about this one so far, but maybe he says something that kind of piques everyone's interest. Let's go.
So are you related to Nolan?
Nolan's my father.
Kind of saw the resemblance.
Oh, yeah.
So tell everybody
he found Atari and Chuck E. Cheese.
Atari and Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, he's a
I don't
legend.
bring it up because people tend to make the wrong conclusions.
Oh, just said Chuck E.
My dad
Cheese.
was very strict with me and my 7 siblings about never giving us any money. I started bagging groceries when I was 12, started my first company in college.
You stand on your own merit.
I stand on my own merits. I've worked my butt off my whole life. My background's engineering. My dad was an engineer, and he raised us as engineers. And so we were building stuff all the time. I've actually got a demo for you guys. Mark, Daniel, you mind joining me on stage to fight for your lives? I mean, experience a demo? So come over here, grab this headset right here, hold it like a pair of binoculars. Okay, and then grab that controller, grab this controller. For the rest of you, I'm gonna be capturing their view in my headset up on the screen. There we go. Now we can see. There we go. Now flick that like you're cracking a whip. There you go. That's a fireball. There's a fireball. Okay, now the rest of you can see what's going on here, right? So they are in a virtual world, but they can see everything else.
Try to hit Mark. Come on,
Right,
let's
right,
go.
right.
Hitting fireballs.
Like you're cracking a
Yes,
whip,
not
Daniel. Like you're
going.
cracking a whip. Beautiful. There he is. Got him. Daniel crushing him.
Oh, there,
There we go. Oh my gosh.
He's like,
There it is. He's
He just
crushing
blew
it.
you up.
All we need is 3. Oh, strong.
Whoa.
Very strong.
Oh, Daniel's on
All
fire.
right.
Wow, you're
Oh,
killing
he's
it.
dead.
Wow, Mark, when yours started working, it was just firing away. So walk me into your world.
Sure.
Let's say I buy a ticket. When I walk in, what is there for me?
You're going to be greeted by one of our entertainment directors. You're going to go and you're going to check in on a little iPad with all of the details, sign a quick waiver, and then you're off and running. There's a whole center area where you get to have food and beverage, and then surrounding that are all the different attractions. So we have a Western shootout. We've got a drift trike racetrack. You're
Oh, this
collecting
is like
coins
that.
just like you're literally in the middle of
I
a,
could
of,
touch
of a race.
But there's
a
just
bus.
so much competition here. Walk us through, where is this? Like, is this just the testing and you're still developing, or is this perfected? How are you better than the competition?
We are still developing, but my technical co-founder,
Oh.
Aiden Wolf, is an absolute superstar. We are a year ahead of everybody else. We've been developing this software. We'll be ready
So
with
what makes you a year ahead of everybody else? Because it was fun, right? But it wasn't so overwhelmingly different, right?
Sure.
So
That's
what
what I'm
makes
saying.
your technology more advanced?
So this is actually my second circus. We built a 50,000 square foot entertainment complex in the middle of downtown Los Angeles. Virtual
You
reality
did?
arena. We did over $8 million in 2019.
Did
we were
you
on
come
trend to
out
do
with
$10 million
$10 million
in
and then COVID?
2020. Yeah. It just eviscerated the business. But
Now,
I
why
learned
didn't you
over
start it up again, though? Just open up what already you know was a huge success.
when we imagined the first circus, it was with 2017 technology. We needed $10,000 in trust, $2,000 computers, tethering. It was a less good experience. All of that is now this tiny little headset, right? And so we can deploy what was a $9 million build, we can do for 100 grand.
Look, I'm in the real estate business, and we have a lot of stress in America now in B and C grade malls,
100%.
where they're basically going bankrupt.
Yes.
What you mentioned was you could take this empty retail space. You need AC, you need some food and beverage, you need some parking, wireless internet, and that's it?
That's it. Yeah, and a lot of those things are already in most of those vacant retails.
Okay, so what do you think the cost is? You approach me and say, look, I'm going to pay you what per day of use?
We would do a percentage of revenue, so it'd be 10 or 20% of our revenue.
And what
So
would you project as your revenue to that store owner?
we think a single location could do somewhere between $1.5 and $2 million top line revenue.
You're saying we would, but your valuation of $10 million implies that you already are. So what have you actually done in these models, or is it all just dreaming up business?
All we've done is build software so far.
So that's zero sales so far.
Well, that's expensive to build
We've done
software.
a bunch.
yeah.
We've done a few events. We made $9,000 in bringing it to other people's
But
events.
how many places, how many locations are you in right now?
Zero.
And zero.
But I operated our amusement park for 7 years.
But what did you spend to set up LA? How much did you have to invest to do that one from scratch?
So for our old location was, at least $9 million.
Wow.
But
And
Ouch.
that was in the actual build out?
that was in the
old
actual
tech.
build
Yeah,
out.
that's old
Yeah,
tech.
but we also had built all the games.
Brent, I need to know how it would actually work.
Right.
What are you going to charge for your ticket price? Is that entitled a kid to an hour?
We found about $1 a minute for entertainment. Imagine about $30 average spend per person,
That's
$20 on entertainment,
No.
$10 on food and beverage.
What were the terms of the last raise? What was the valuation?
You would be our first investor. We've raised no
Wait
money
a
for
sec. What
this.
about the past?
Oh,
Walk
yeah.
me through the past.
Yeah, so we raised $40 million for the other.
Why are those
40
investors not
million?
coming in with
Yeah.
you this go
40
around?
million.
What
Yeah.
happened to that?
COVID eviscerated the business.
Yeah, but, look,
So you went bankrupt.
Are any of those investors involved in this?
No,
So, Brent, why is it worth 10 million bucks right now?
because we're gonna make something massive. This is a huge.
Listen, Brent, this is where
Because he believes
this is
in
how
it.
I feel. I think the space you're playing in is an important space. It's got huge potential, but I think you're a little bit too early to bring in an investor. So I'm sorry, but I'm out.
Okay, I appreciate.
And I'll kind of bring it back on myself here really quickly. I mean, it seems like this guy has come from royalty. His pops was the inventor of the Atari, which that was before my time. But Chuck E. Cheese, I was actually took my daughter there last week. So man, shouts out to his father. It seems like obviously Mark knows the guy. Engineering, he talked about the importance of kind of being raised in the right situation. 7 kids, all of them are engineers. This gentleman is an engineer. I know I talked about kind of maybe patents before. Again, seems like he's developing. He spent a ton of money on software, which you can get patents on that. So I would imagine that he has some patents. Maybe he kept it as trade secrets. Maybe he files copyright on it. You can protect software in a lot of different ways. So I would imagine that he has something on that. I mean, I probably agree with Daniel. I think maybe he's a little early. It seems like the last situation, maybe wasted 40 million, but COVID is a big reason for that. So I'm not going to maybe fault him for it. I actually, as I kind of learned more about it from him talking through it, this seems like it's not necessarily the headsets. It's more so an event space, such as, I think they talked about malls and things like that, where kids are going and they're playing different games in different areas, which I think is actually pretty interesting, pretty cool. I know at kind of Dave & Buster's, when you go, they have like maybe a virtual reality situation, but it's stationary. Again, I would imagine to kind of be moving around, you need a ton of space. And the fact that essentially that's what he's doing with what Future Circus. I actually like the idea. Maybe think it's a little early on. You're going to Sharks, who's kind of used to investing $250 here, $1 million here, to say, hey, give me $500,000 for 5% of something that we're still essentially working on. That's why Daniel said, hey, man, a little early on, not in kind of any stores yet, or kind of has any kind of brick and mortar locations. I do think it's competition, but I think it's something the gaming industry is becoming more and more popular. And this is something different where you have the entire spaces, kind of really virtual reality, kind of with these open spaces to be able to kind of do things. I do think that's interesting. I think that's an interesting situation. I like the whole minute per fun, $1 per minute. That seems to be right based on kind of me going to different spaces or activity places, Chuck E. Cheese, Dave & Buster's with my daughter. So that's I don't know. I think that seems to be right. Let's kind of go back and see if he gets a deal. I know I said it before. Hey, it's looking a little interesting. Looks like Barbara and Mr. Wonderful were somewhat interested. Mark is kind of hard to read at this point, but let's see if he gets something. Let me kind of pull it back up here.
Appreciate it, Daniel.
I'm disturbed by one, losing all that money for the investors and no one staying with you.
Yeah, that's true.
I know I've lost money, sadly, along the way, but somehow you keep people with you, sort of.
Yeah, for sure. That's true.
And it's way too early, so sadly, I'm out.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, Brett, along the same lines. The challenge is refresh, right? Because you always have to have something new and exciting. And I don't see that as a surmountable problem. So for those reasons, I'm out.
Got it. Thank you, Mark.
This is a reboot for you. It's version 2.0 after 40 million in the ground. It's like walking on a tightrope with no net, but 500,000 for 5%. If I was interested, I'd beat you into like a baby seal on valuation. But I don't want to do that. If it was a smaller amount, maybe I'd take a flyer, but I'm sorry, Brent, I'm out.
I understand. Thank you.
I guess I'm the only one left. So I really like you, but I'm just afraid this isn't the right business for me. And unfortunately, I don't love your valuation anyway. And so I wish you good luck, but I'm out.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you
guys.
very much.
Good luck, Brett.
Everyone.
Good
Thanks a lot.
luck.
We didn't get a deal today, but I'm still so excited about the future. I believe in this approach so intensely, and it's going to revolutionize not just entertainment, but therapy and fitness and learning. It's going to be awesome.
And shouts out to the gentleman. Like I said, I don't watch these things ahead of time, and I just had a kind of feeling. Now, some of the questions got answered, but unfortunately, him having a prior situation, prior business that he raised $40 million on, and again, I understand COVID, that was a monkey wrench in a lot of people's kind of business. But the fact that nobody stayed with him, I think Barbara brought up a good point with that. And again, I can definitely see this being something maybe a little bit too early, kind of the proof of concept. It was a little further down the line. I can see kind of something happening with it, but we'll definitely keep an eye out on it. Let's kind of take a look at the website here. Actually, a pretty interesting website. Let me see if I can go to it. And again, for those of you who don't know, I am in the great state of Michigan, in the Detroit metro area. And you see here, they actually have one of these things, Dream Park, it looks like, in Grand Rapids. So I'm not sure since Shark Tank whether or not they kind of start kind of doing some of these things, but you see here, you can kind of reserve this thing. It doesn't tell you where it's at outside of the city, which is Grand Rapids. You can kind of find your city. Let me see if I can go back here. Website is interesting to say the least. I didn't want to put that email in, but I guess that's one of many emails, so I'm not concerned. And again, it shows you, it has a map of the U.S. and it kind of tells you everywhere it's at. Like I said, Michigan, it has one. This is the Grand Rapids location, which is the west side of the state. Seems like they have a few in California, a few in Texas, a few in Florida on the East Coast, and then that Southeast region, which kind of makes sense. Maybe one in Chicago, Wisconsin here, Indiana, Ohio. So they have some in the Midwest as well. So yeah, like I said, 45 to 60 minute experience, 4+. So they're essentially telling you they're going to reveal the location to you later, which that's interesting. Let me see if I click on it, try to go through the process. $20 for the checkout. Yeah, I'm not going to go through it, but I think the website is a little interesting, to say the least, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section. The history by mail, niche product, did a ton of money. Again, this one I think has some potential, maybe a little bit early, as Daniel pointed out. Unfortunately, this gentleman didn't get a deal, but it seems like I'm sure he's going to keep going, and it seems like they're kind of popping up all over. So compared to where he was in Shark Tank, which I would imagine is 2024 sometime, these are maybe around, I guess, based on the website. Maybe I have to kind of take a look, go over there and experience it myself. I have some family on the west side of the state here in Michigan, so I have to kind of take a look at it. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section, as well as please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, hit the subscribe button, be a part of the IP community. This was an interesting one. I thought with the $10 million valuation, which again, Lori and some of the other sharks talked about it, even if they were interested, which it seems like some of the sharks were, the $10 million valuation kind of threw them off as well. And again, but I'm assuming that Nolan is going to continue to go forward with things, or I'm not sure if the pops is Nolan or the son is Nolan, but this gentleman is going to keep going forward with things. So again, that's one of the things with entrepreneurs. You may get a million no's, but you only need that one yes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.